I've tried and in the stages of starting an urban farm here in Bangkok, and I've made a lot of mistakes, and never thought it would be easy, but like it's really dawning on me what I have in front of me and how long this is going to take. So let me go through what we're trying to do here and some of the mistakes I've made and what we have planned. So the goal is here in Bangkok, in Ari, at Tiger Eye, in this area, a little enclave of urban farm slash permaculture project. And really what I'm looking to do is create a mini ecosystem that serves as an urban farm where we are getting a significant portion, and we'll see what that amount is, of our food right from here, from the land, that we get to eat and we get to serve our staff and our fighters and our customers. So this is not just about growing fruits and vegetables, but we've got bees, we've got chickens, and later on we're going to have fish in an aquaponics system, which we haven't even started yet, and it's going to be its own host of issues and challenges until we get things right, because we're not even there yet. So in this whole process, some of the things that I've learned, and it's actually one of the principles of permaculture, is observation. Because one of the things, kind of the mistakes that I made was but I learned quickly, luckily enough, is you can't just go out and impose your will on the area that you have and be like, I want this there, I want that there, I want it set up like this, because nature has its way of fitting in where it does best, right? So you have to look at what kind of soil that you have, what about the buildings around you and how they affect the sun and the wind, and thinking about your neighbors, thinking about what goes where, about people and animals destroying things, right? So you could be like, oh, this is great, I'm going to plant this over here, but then you find out that the birds like to dig it up, or the chickens like to go there, or you're not going to be able to keep the kids and random people trampling over it, right? So there's just a lot of things that now to me are like kind of common sense, but at the time I didn't really know. All right, so why? What is the thought process behind this? My personal thought process. It's a couple of things. A few years ago, I started just getting kind of concerned about what would happen if things went crazy around the world. I mean, this is a few years before COVID, so the timing was pretty good. But I wanted to be able to somehow support myself if things ever just went to complete shit. So I got this interest in self-sustainability and what. And at that time, I was actually living in an apartment, and I used my balcony to see how much food I could grow on my balcony. And that time, I didn't know anything, so the only thing I really got was I got some turmeric, I got some small tomatoes, I got some limes, and I got a bunch of beans, long beans, like this. So that was one of the things. Another is just having a connection to the environment and enjoying nature, and being involved with nature. That was just another thing. I quickly found it to be very therapeutic and enjoyable, and something that not only was just fun, but just really made me feel good. Another thing is and having something to enjoy with my kids, and really, and have them appreciate nature and be involved with this. And it's been a very good bonding process. It's something, an activity that I enjoy, and then kids, especially when they're younger, they like getting their hands dirty and yeah, getting their hands in the soil, and going and learning about animals and taking care of animals. So those are some of the main reasons, and all that kind of fits into my general philosophy of what it means to be a martial artist. And because for me, being a martial artist, like, I don't want to get really too caught up in this kind of nostalgia, and like I don't want to wear a kung fu uniform and pretend I'm some Shaolin monk. But the reality is that even in the modern world, the principles of martial arts, they don't change. So you learn how to fight, you take care of your body, you learn those martial arts skills to defend yourself and protect your loved ones. Then you also have this connection to nature. You also work on yourself internally. So this kind of cliche of the martial artist, like meditating and taking care of their garden, that's something that even in this modern world, I want to have a part of my life and how I view being a martial artist. So here are some of the biggest lessons that I've learned and about this, and still learning about. And then if you want to kind of do the same thing, these are things that you really need to know. So I think number one is the importance of soil. It's not really just like about just getting soil, even if you buy it from bagged soil and it's supposed to be great. Without understanding soil, I don't think you're going to be very good at being able to grow anything. And for a number of reasons. The soil is a complete ecosystem, a separate ecosystem, and a very complex one that people are still learning about. So you really need to learn about soil, about how plants interact with the soil, about how fungi interact in the soil. And this is something that I'm not an expert at whatsoever. And I'm still, every day I'm learning just a little bit. And it is a complex subject, but it's probably one of the most important, not just for you or myself wanting to grow, but it's actually for, if you will find out as you learn a bit more about it, it's for the planet. Because soil degradation can become a huge problem for planet Earth. And reliance on synthetic fertilizers, etc. It's another topic that I'm not going to really get into, but soil. But that's one of the most important things that you have to learn about, that I'm still learning about. And not just about what soil, like how it works and what the food web, the soil food web as they call it, is, but also that it's not just about dirt and putting a plant in there. Not all plants like the same kind of soil. So you have to find out, like, what plants like soil. You just can't put a seed in the soil and expect a plant to thrive. Which brings it to the next topic, which is about light. Again, you think that plants need dirt, they need water, and they need light. Again, it's not so simple. A lot of plants, they don't like harsh light, and at certain stages you want to have like less light. So these things I was learning about. So just like I said in the beginning, I'm gonna put this over there, put that over there. It's not so simple. It's like that place is getting harsh sunlight. The plants aren't going to thrive there. And even now, this is like I'm still learning about this. So you got to have the right soil and the right soil type. Some plants, they're okay with having wet soil. Most plants aren't. And that soil needs to drain well and needs to sometimes even dry out for the plant to thrive. And then with a light. So the way that you set up your area, and you design it, not just to grow things, but also for the aesthetics. You could have shade in certain area, which, like right now I'm out in the sun and it's really hot. I would like some shade. So I need to also have some plants here that make sense with that. And then, of course, then there's water. It's not just about soaking your plants every day. You got to be smart about how you water. And that in itself is also like, how much time do you want to spend watering plants? Setting up a watering system. If you're really going to have, especially an urban farm, and you have other things to do, you got to figure out the best way to water. And I am still in the process. This is all a big work in progress, and we're going to see more about it in the coming weeks, months, and years, right? So there's the three main topics: soil, light, and water. Another thing to get on is about growing plants in the containers or growing plants in the ground. And again, this comes down to to soil, right? But for me, one of the big lessons for me is that I would not want to grow plants in containers. Like, yeah, we have some containers here, and we're going to keep using containers, but growing plants in containers is way harder than just growing them in the ground, because the soil will dry out faster. It can also stay waterlogged faster because it has not necessarily anywhere to go, right, other than the small hole at the bottom. You have to feed the plant, and you can overfeed it, right? Because you have a container, it's easy for what you put in there to be too much, right? While if you have a big garden bed or you're planting in the ground, then it's not as difficult. So now going forward, I'm going to have as many large garden beds and plant in the ground as much as I can. And again, if you're planting in the ground, then you need to learn about the soil there. So that is another lesson here about having an urban garden. And then finally, it is the time that you have to spend. Like, this is not just an urban farm, it's a Muay Thai gym. It is a place where kids come to learn. We have other classes. We have a lot of stuff going on here. And I can't spend, although I enjoy it, I can't spend 8 hours a day watering plants and, mixing soil and whatnot. So, you have to think about how much time you're really willing to dedicate, and if you have or can get help. Luckily, I've got staff here that helps, and some of them are into gardening and interested, so that's great. I'm very grateful for that. But when I started this, I kind of thought that over here I would get a more community support. And so if I talk about, I've got this urban garden here, there'll be lots of comments to be like, oh, that's great, I'd love to volunteer. But when the time comes around to it, people don't show up, right? So there's a lot of people that like this idea of gardening, and they wish they could do it. And if you give them an opportunity to do it, they're still not going to take it, right? So that's a reality. And something that I'm thinking about is how can I get, because the way I saw this, and I see it, and it'll get there, is just, you're learning about different challenges, is how to find and engage people that want to train and also want to help out in the garden because they enjoy it, right? So those are some of the main things. There's more topics that we'll get into, like keeping animals and raising animals. We've got chickens, we get eggs, is great, but we just lost a chicken and everyone's sad about that. And now we got to wait for another chicken to grow up to get eggs. You thinking about the other chickens, because they have a flock hierarchy, a pecking order, and one chicken goes, and then how is that going to affect the other chickens? Chickens also ruin everything. So now I've got over here, I've got chicken wire over here. I would so love to be able to go and put my hands in here and work on this, but the chickens come in and they ruin everything, and so I gotta protect it for right now. I got sun hemp growing in there, so it's really just to help with the soil. Again, it all comes down to the soil. And I'd love to get my hands dirty in here and be able to poke around, but I can't do that because if I leave this open, the chickens are going to come and ruin everything. So now I got to think about making an enclosure. We have a chicken coop. We have a big chicken coop, but I really want the chickens to have a lot of room to roam around, right? And I had to think about all these things and design all these things so that everybody's happy. So that I'm happy, the chickens are happy, the people coming and visit are happy, right? I don't want to see a chicken in a cage or even a decently sized coop. I'd like to have them roaming around. So there's a lot of challenges, and we're going to talk about all of it. I'm learning a lot on this journey of having a urban farm, a permaculture project here in the city. And if you're thinking about it, follow along, ask questions, You can get engaged in the comments, and you'll just see how things develop over the coming weeks, months, and years.